Find out what's going on.
Shanahan, the former Raiders head coach. In fact, he's never lost against his old team. He says Al Davis still owes him money. Game's underway. The unbeaten Broncos with Jason Elam kicking off, and it's taken by Desmond Howard. Howard for the Raiders to the 20 with a cutback and caught and dropped at about the 27-yard line. So Jeff George directs the Oakland offense after that 21-yard return by Desmond Howard. This is the third-rated offense in the NFL, tops in the passing department with that veteran line featuring Steve Wisniewski, the Pro Bowl performer, who had his problems in the loss against San Diego before the bye week. Jeff George is the quarterback, 14 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. Kaufman, Fenner, Jett, Brown, and Dudley. Brown having a tremendous season, top receiver in the AFC. That's Brown in motion. First down give to Napoleon Kaufman, who bursts free. He's got a blocker in front. Kaufman to the sideline. He's to the 20, and he's bumped out of bounds just short of the 10-yard line. Ray Crockett saved the touchdown. Napoleon Kaufman was a non-factor in the loss to San Diego. They said he needs to touch the ball 25 times today. I guess so.
Well, 24 might like that, and they win this game. But watch what happens. A quick shot. Good lead block by Steve Wisniewski up inside, pulling around, and now it's just the Kaufman Jets. He's got Jett out in front of him. Crockett saves the touchdown, but this is the perfect start for Joe Bugle's Raiders. That was an attitude right at you play, running the ball.
Look what he's done the last 4 games, 57 on his first run today. Spot the ball at about the 14-yard line. Kaufman slipped that time and is covered by Steve Atwater. Here's the starting defense for the Broncos. Up front, all but Traylor have been to the Pro Bowl. Smith and Traylor, the former Kansas City Chiefs. John Mobley leads the team in tackles. Had 15 against New England before the bye week. Aldridge, Romanowski, Crockett, Gordon, Braxton, and Atwater. Second down from the 13, second and 9. Pitch to Kaufman. Napoleon got a block, got another from Fenner, and is down at the 9-yard line. Ray Crockett again made the tackle of Napoleon Kaufman.
And right now, what they're going at right now, as far as the Raiders goes, Tom, is they're going after what everybody considers kind of the soft underbelly of this defense, and that's running the ball at him and being very physical. You notice the last play, Kaufman blasted that ball back inside. Joe Bugle wants his running backs running between the tackles. This is a fast defense. Don't try to get the corner unless it's clean.
Bugle said the bye week came not at a good time for his team, at a great time, healing some injuries and stewing about that loss to San Diego, which upset them greatly. 3rd and 5, flags down. First penalty of the game. Bernie Kukar, our referee today.
That was James Jett, tweaked out there early on the right side.
Ball start. Number 82 on the offense. Moving prior to the ball being snapped. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And a real test for Joe Bugle's team today, too, is how do they react to the negative plays? They've had the positive plays, but this has always been a team that has made the stupid mistakes in the past. They've cut the penalties down somewhat, but how do you come back when you've got momentum and suddenly you hit yourself in the face to stop it?
Jett guilty of that penalty, and it's 3rd and 10 now from the 14. Jeff George, his first pass. Good protection for the end zone. Open and touchdown. James Jett.
Any questions out there on the arm strength of Joe Bugle's free agent quarterback? This is why Jeff George is the best free agent pickup of this season for any team. He's got the poise, he can throw it, and when he's got the running game going too, it's a deadly combination for the Denver defense, and that's how you don't want to start the week after a bye.
Cole Ford will attempt the extra point. It's up and through. The quick strike, the Raider offense. 57-yard run from Kaufman, and then George to Jett for the score.
And it looks like our opening segment, Napoleon Kaufman runs, Jeff George throws, James Jett makes up for his penalty with a touchdown.
Back in the Bay Area where Oakland caught the Denver defense in a fog on that first series. Kaufman raced 57 yards, and they cover 71 yards in 4 plays. Kaufman accounting for 62 of the 71. Vaughn Hebron takes, it'll be one of the up men that takes it, Lavelle, and he's dropped in his tracks at the 25 after the short kick by Cole Ford.
When you play the Oakland Raiders, you know you're going to get speed and you cannot hesitate. Watch Jett and watch Darian Gordon and watch the hesitation by Gordon right about the end zone. You know you're playing a fast receiver. You got some help inside. Don't do that.
And Jett with the touchdown for James, his 6th receiving touchdown of the season. Now John Elway tries to answer. The motion man, pitch it to Davis. And Terrell Davis gets only a couple of yards. Here's the starting offensive unit for the Denver Broncos. And Randy Cross, who should know, is on record as saying this is the best offensive line in football these days. Brian Habib started a radio show this week. He was so bad that his fellow offensive linemen fined him. Zimmerman, of course, called out of retirement. Elway, Davis the top AFC rusher, Griffith, Smith, McCaffrey, and Shannon Sharp, the always dangerous receiver. And there's Sharp talking to Elway, getting a change of the play on 2nd and 7. Davis, picking his way forward, crosses the 30 to the 31-yard line, stopped by Greg Biekert. Starting defensive unit for Oakland, a front 4 that features Darrell Russell, second player taken in the draft, getting his first start at a defensive end. Anthony Smith leads them in sacks with 5.5. Fredrickson, Biekert, and Morton, McDaniel, Lewis, Trapp, and Turner. Turner, the leading tackler for the Raiders this season. And, of course, the veteran corners, McDaniel and Lewis.
A change for Elway's offense, Tom. He's got Zimmerman, the right tackles at left, and Tony Jones is flopped over against the rookie Russell.
It'll be a matchup to watch all day as Elway from the gun whips it across the middle, incomplete, intended for Shannon Sharp. Sharp drew Albert Lewis on the coverage. Didn't get matched up with a linebacker, which is what they want. Instead, it was the veteran corner Lewis.
Well, what John Elway needed here was just a little bit more time, but he was getting the blitz up in his face. John Stone had the time to get to Elway. See that? That is why Elway just couldn't hold that ball that little extra. If he holds a little longer, he gets the ball to Sharp.
Lance Johnstone, 51, lost his starting spot to Russell, but will be the designated pass rusher today. Tom Ruin set to punt. And Desmond Howard looking to get untracked in this game. He's been a disappointment so far from the 16. Howard tripped up at the 20. Beautiful open field tackle made by Johnson. We'll take a break. The Raiders will have the ball, leading 7-0.
So we've got one All-AFC West game for you. There was one other All-AFC West game played on Thursday. Here's what's happened. Kansas City at home, demolishing the San Diego Chargers. The story here, Elvis Gerbach on top form. He got things rolling with a 1-yard touchdown run. Then threw 2 touchdown passes to Andre Rison, a 10-yarder and a 5-yarder. Pete Stoyanovich kicked a field goal. Marcus Allen, the ageless Marcus Allen, chipped in with a 6-yard run. All the San Diego Chargers could muster in response was a 26-yard field goal. That improves Kansas City to 5-2, keeping up the pressure on the Broncos.
Napoleon Kaufman thought he was the forgotten man in the San Diego game, only touched the ball 11 times. Look what hits is done here. This is the 6th rushing big play, that one by Kaufman, but the 32nd of the season for the Oakland Raiders, most of them on the arm of Jeff George, but they're the best big play team in the NFL. Kaufman tries to give him another and was within 1 tackle of making it so. Got about 5 yards before Steve Atwater caught him by the ankles.
You know, Tom, I'm really big into watching body language. Watch the body language of the Oakland Raiders right now. They're on their toes. They're aggressive. They're moving forward. Mike Shanahan talked about his Denver Broncos last night. He said, hey, look, I know these guys probably won't play as good as they did Monday night a week ago against the New England Patriots. I'm kind of curious to see how they've come out. Right now, they've come out a little soft.
And, of course, he was expecting the Raiders to play much better than they have. Here's the pitch to Kaufman. Tim Brown gave him a block on the corner, but the Denver defense reacting quickly holds Kaufman to only about a yard. Alan Aldridge from his middle linebacker spot got there in a hurry.
Well, that's an example of why you don't want to spend too much time running sideways against that defense. With the linebackers they've got with guys like Mobley and Aldridge and Romanowski, you don't get the outside very often against this defense.
See the other scores passing by, including that Dallas victory over Jacksonville. The Cowboys losing the lead and then coming back to win and holding off the last Jacksonville drive with an interception.
Guess you got to pull a few of the nails out of that coffin people were nailing shut.
Yeah, so the Cowboys live after all, as Jeff George surveys the defense on 3rd and 4. Hit Tim Brown in the back. He was open. He was covered by the linebacker Aldridge and had a step, but he wasn't watching the ball. And Tim Brown, who had a subpar game against San Diego, doesn't look good there.
Well, one person read this play perfectly. It wasn't Tim Brown and it wasn't Jeff George. It was Aldridge, the middle linebacker. Watch his eyes, watch the quarterback, see the receiver. If he was a tight end, he'd have caught that, but he's a linebacker for a reason. He's aggressive, he's tough, he's strong, but he can't catch.
So Aldridge, who almost stayed right in his tracks, was able to deflect the ball. Incomplete. And Aragoose will punt for the first time to Darian Gordon. Darian Gordon, you see, with a 94-yarder against St. Louis, a Denver record. He's the best punt returner in the NFL right now. Put a hand down for balance, looks for a block. Still on his feet, made a pretty nice return. There's a penalty marker down as he gets to the 35-yard line, and a fight back away from the football involving Lorenzo Lynch. And Lynch, of course, was the man that predicted the demise of the Broncos in the playoffs last year, and Bruce Meyer and Darius Johnson taking exception with Lynch there, and so did
James Folsom, 55, the backup inside linebacker, was in that little dog pile himself. But this is what you expect in this rivalry. These teams, hate is not an underused word around these two teams. They legitimately hate each other.
Shannon Sharp saying yesterday they're mean, ornery, cheap shot artists, and he was just talking about the Raiderettes.
There is no penalty. The block was from the side, not in the back. There is no penalty.
Wave off the flag. Business as usual when the Broncos play the Raiders.
So Oakland looking pretty good at the start of the game. They made the best possible start. Napoleon Kaufman on the ground.
Well, we knew he was good. I mean, that certainly was an explosive introduction to the game from Kaufman. I tell you, this fella will kill you if you give him an opportunity. And with a hole like that, Mike, I mean, take it away.
And Wisniewski pulling. And the funny thing is, watch the block here. It's a half-hearted one, but it actually opens it up. Wisniewski's already cleared the hole there, and Kaufman's through. And Jet does a good job here of holding off Crockett as long as he can. He just can't get in front of him. Nice coverage by Crockett, actually.
Yeah, that was actually a very, very important block as well by Jet. I mean, it really, as you say, it sprung him for a good 10 or 15 extra yards. But this is what the Raiders had to do, and they've come out fired up. I think they've been embarrassed this week by some of the talk that's been going on that the Raiders are a joke.
Absolutely, and that was why it was so important for them to punch that in for a touchdown after that run. And James Jet took the penalty, but then he makes the touchdown catch.
Good player, James Jet. I mean, Tim Brown is the guy that gets most of the ink, but rightly so. But on the other side of the field, you've got James Jet, and a lot of people will be happy to throw to him. He's got open very well there. He burned Darian Gordon, I think.
And one of the big things with Oakland is Jet has never really come through before like they expected him to. But until they got Jeff George, that whole offense that Al Davis insists his coaches runs, that his teams run, wouldn't work. There wasn't a quarterback to get them the ball the way that offense demands.
And Jeff George definitely is a guy who's going to get him the ball. Whatever you say about Jeff George, I mean, you can question his temperament. You can't question the power of his arm. He really is a superb passer, which is exactly why Al Davis brought him in. He loves that long bomb.
And like I said before, it's the one team in football that he fits into.
At the moment, I mean, you know, this guy's on a fuse. You know, it'll tick away. Sooner or later, I think Jeff George is going to blow up somewhere down the road.
So a big test for Denver now. Can they make something out of their next possession? Oakland leads 7-0.
Gary Zimmerman, I mentioned earlier, in at left tackle, his natural position for the last 11, 12 years, gives him a matchup with Anthony Smith, more of a speed rusher and a better matchup for the Broncos.
First down play for Denver from their own 35. They trail by 7. Play action fake. John Elway buying time. Production breaks down. And Elway is down at the 31. Sacked by Chester McLaughlin. the sack.
Well, this has been a real dull and blasé team so far defensively, but look at the way that McLaughlin just pushes Brian Habib, the right guard, right back into Elway's face. McLaughlin admitted, I have not been playing with the fire and intensity I probably should, but seeing this young guy Russell running around kind of makes me jealous. We all ought to play like that.
Energized him a bit. He now has 2.5 sacks this season. Second and long for Elway. Scrambles free. Elway, who does this not as much as previously in his career as he has gotten older, takes it back to the 40-yard line where Eric Turner takes him down.
Well, this is another coverage situation. As the last play, there was good coverage down the field. John Elway has nowhere to go. And, 5-6 years ago, John Elway gets a first down here. Right now, with all the braces and support he wears on his body, you got to time him by the shadows moving across the grass.
He's happy just to get up, much less pick up a first down. He did get positive yardage. There you see on the season 73 yards.
And back in the shotgun, Tom, something he's just started doing extensively this year.
3rd and 5. Elway down the field and incomplete, intended for Willie Green. Green drew pretty good coverage from Perry Carter.
Now this is not interference either way. This is legitimate hand fighting. You got hand fighting in black, you got hand fighting in white, and you got a ball a little too far overthrown for all the hand fighting. You don't hand fight, you go get it.
Yeah, put those hands to better use by getting the football, as Carter had pretty tight coverage. And Ruin is on for his second punt of the game. First one was a good one. So for the second time, Denver goes 3 and out, and Desmond Howard will get another chance. Howard from the 22. Couldn't get started. Good coverage for the Broncos. Oakland leading 7-0. They'll get the ball back.
The old term on special teams is keep your tail light burning. That means look around you for guys coming after you. We told you about this rivalry. Darius Johnson, better keep that tail light just a little bit brighter when you're burning it.
Perry Carter gave him a shot, and then Lorenzo Lynch, who was tangled up with Johnson earlier. They exchange pleasantries. And the Raiders take over with a first down, leading 7-0. Napoleon Kaufman, great cutback. Beautiful footwork by Napoleon Kaufman, a 13-yard gain. Ray Crockett again forced to tackle him. Give him 14. Man, those feet were moving.
Some backs zig and some backs zag. You're getting a zig and a zag, right? There's zig, there's zag. I mean, he just puts a move and this freezes Braxton, the safety, coming up to hit him. I mean, absolutely froze him in his feet.
And though the Denver defense is 8th overall in the NFL, look at this. Yards per rush allowed, one of the worst, 4.7. And already approaching 70 yards for Kaufman in the first quarter of play. Napoleon carries again. John Mobley makes the tackle this time.
Successful teams, physical teams, bring attitude to a football field. The Raiders have been missing attitude for years. True attitude of being able to belt people. You get a back running 7 rushes for 85 yards, you start establishing an attitude, and you start taking a little bit of fire out of the guys across the line.
A lot of controversy about the play calling in the loss to San Diego, saying that Joe Bugle told us they tried to get too rich early. Forgot about Napoleon Kaufman. He's very much on their minds today, and of the Broncos defense as well. 2nd and 8. George flags down. The ball came free as Derek Fenner caught it for a moment, then hit by Alan Aldridge. It's ruled incomplete. There's a penalty, and it's a hold against the Raiders.
Holding. Number 71 on the offense. A 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's right guard Lester Holmes, guilty of the hold. Penalties traditionally have been the undoing of the Oakland Raiders, although this season they have improved that.
Well, watch Napoleon Kaufman, too. He comes over here. Here's Lester Holmes holding, but watch Napoleon Kaufman blocking. You're running the ball. You're doing your job. I mean, the hold was blatant, but the hold was done to keep the guy off of Jeff George. Sometimes as a lineman, you just got to do it.
And Jeff will thank him, especially if he can convert this 2nd and 18. Little shovel pass is flipped it ahead to Fenner, and he's buried at the 29-yard line by John Mobley. And we invite you to follow the NFL on NBC online at NBCSports.com. Catch up on all the action from around the league, including action from the early games today, plus Gil Brandt's news and notes. This week's poll asks, who's been the year's best free agent acquisition? All at NBCSports.com. Friday, I think you said earlier, Jeff George is your candidate. Huh?
Yeah, he'd be my vote. I mean, George has got a bad reputation as being a bad guy and a problem and a whiner. He's been none of those things here in Oakland. He's been very successful, and he's turned into a team leader.
Well, if we get many hits from the Atlanta area, I doubt there'll be many votes for Jeff George, especially after that victory lap against the Falcons earlier this season. Pretty nice grab made with the tight end Ricky Dudley. One-handed grab, but well short of the first down. Glenn Cadrez made sure he didn't go any further, and the Raiders will punt.
Well, Jeff George, we saw him yesterday, kind of jokingly looks over at Ricky Dudley when he was in the room and says, that guy right there, 10 catches tomorrow. Well, 9 to go. That's one for not too much. You're going to use a Ricky Dudley. He's better used down the field. He's not a possession receiver tight end. He's a guy you use to attack the seams on a defense.
Dudley, the second leading receiver for the Raiders this season. That was his 20th reception. Araguz gets the high snap and sends it on its way. Gordon with a fair catch call and makes it at the 28-yard line, maybe the 29. Where the Broncos will take over, trailing the Raiders by 7 with 4:40 left in the first quarter. NBC Friday, it's all new arresting television, starting with Players, the fun action series starring Ice-T. Then Dateline, followed by Homicide. All new NBC arresting television coming your way on Friday. Last punt by Araguz covered 40 yards with no return. Broncos take over at their own 29-yard line. Davis. Mike Morton was first to arrive on the scene, and then help arrived. And they got Davis down, and so far anyway, the much maligned and deservedly so a Raider rush defense is doing the job on Shanahan's potent Terrell Davis.
Well, you talked about Joe Bugel saying it was a great break, getting that bye when it did. I don't think the defense would have voted great at all. You know, they were shredded by Gary Brown and the Chargers. They were terrible in that game. They had to stew in it for a week. And right now, Mike Shanahan's looking at a defense that stewed pretty hard. They're taking it out on his offense.
3 and out, both possessions. This is their third. Elway, chased from the pocket. He's got room. John Elway turning it up, ducking out just before the first down marker. He's going to be a yard or so short. And again, returning to the theme of the Raiders' rush defense, they've held Terrell Davis 3 carries for 6 yards, doing the job on him so far.
Well, the other thing they're doing a great job on, Tom, is the coverage down the field. This Raiders defensive backfield, not only do you get back Albert Lewis, you get back McDaniel, you're able to go one-on-one, you can put Lewis on McCaffrey there, and you can just smother him. That's what makes a quarterback flush and run.
Here's 3rd and 1 for the Broncos. McCaffrey in motion. Elway with a play-action fake. Zips it down the sideline. Sharp is open. Shannon Sharp with a first down to the 35 of the Raiders. Wrapped up there by Eric Turner as Elway goes to Shannon Sharp for the first down reception.
Now, how many offenses in the league on 3rd and 1 are going to throw the ball like this down the field to a covered receiver? And I say covered because Shannon Sharp is not wide open. Look at the pass. You've got to drop over the top of the safety trap into the arms of Shannon Sharp. You only do that when you get great protection from your line. You've got a quarterback like John Elway with that kind of a touch.
And you've got a great receiver in Shannon Sharp, who actually was moaning a little bit about his lack of production this year. Terrell Davis dancing his way for a couple of yards. Sharp just making his 19th reception of the season. He's only the 3rd leading receiver for the Broncos. And he said, well, but you can't complain because you're 6-0. He said, well, maybe you can complain, but nobody's going to listen.
Or nobody's going to care. You know, Shannon Sharp is still a great weapon. And what he's not used to is he's been catching a lot of possession-type passes. Teams at times in the past have forgotten about Shannon Sharp. He blew his cover a few years ago. Nobody forgets about Shannon Sharp.
2nd and 8. Davis in motion, nobody in the backfield. Elway under the rush. He's going to run it again. He's got a lot of room in the center of the field and dives to the 15-yard line. This looks like the John Elway of old as he's getting huge chunks on the scramble.
Watch the linebackers in a line, the defensive backs in a line, and what they do with it. It's coverage down the field. There's good pressure up front from the defensive line, and John Elway has to move. It's better than hitting Elway, flushing Elway the way they are right now, because they're disrupting the timing of this entire offense.
First down Broncos from the 17 of the Raiders. Denver trails by 7. Terrell Davis, change of direction. Made a nice cut to the 12. Hit there by Greg Beekers.
Well, a few weeks back, the Cincinnati Bengals opened a game up against the Broncos, where they came out and just smacked John Elway around. Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak, his offensive coordinator on the sideline, just said, okay, fine, you want to rush John Elway? Try to tackle Terrell Davis. Davis went for 215. This is where the Raiders defense has got to stop the run. Puts Elway in a must pass if you get Terrell Davis in.
So Kubiak has sent in his 2nd and 6th play. Smith in motion. Play clock down to 5. Elway drills it complete to the 2. Rod Smith with a catch in traffic. It'll be 1st and goal Denver. Albert Lewis, the veteran corner, had Smith covered well, but Smith made the catch and Elway drilled it in there.
I said the last time that Shannon Sharp, John Elway throwing to a covered receiver. When you got this laser cannon, you don't worry about covered or not. You just put that right in the gut and have your receiver come up with it. Rod Smith, another example of one of the great character guys Mike Shanahan's brought into that organization.
5 seconds left in the quarter. Terrell Davis. Touchdown. And the mile-high salute from Terrell Davis as he pounds it in, and then a near scuffle occurs as John Elway made that drive happen with his scrambling. And then Davis with the clincher.
Everybody's talking about the running game with Terrell Davis. Elway, like you said, sets it up, but that's push up front. That's an example of that offensive line do what it needs to do. And the salute is from Davis to Griffith for being the good soldier and making the great lead block.
And Jason Elam with the extra point to tie the game. Has it up and through.
Whatever is good.
So Terrell Davis, he's carried 6 times for 14 yards, but he got his 7th touchdown power run of the season.
It doesn't sound like a big difference, but when you got a tackle going to a different tackle in Zimmerman, it is different. He gets a good block. Big Habib comes on the backside and just splatters things around and makes a nice wide soft spot for Davis just to easily get in the end zone.
Put us in the head of Tony Jones and maybe Gary Zimmerman, the veterans today, as they face off against Darrell Russell, trying to open up room for Terrell Davis.
Well, it's just a difficult thing. Tony Jones has been a left tackle in the past and has earlier this year. Gary Zimmerman was a left tackle for years here in Denver. When he came back from his retirement, both guys volunteered to be right tackle. They put Zimmerman over there, but it's as difficult as you can imagine if you're right-handed throwing left-handed or left-handed throwing right-handed. Everything happens in a mirror to what you're used to. It takes a while to adjust, even for a veteran like Gary Zimmerman, who's been at left tackle for years and years, but has spent 5-6 games playing right tackle. You just have to move that adjustment period over to the other side of your brain.
7-7 game with 1 second left in the opening quarter. And Elam to kick off. Desmond Howard to the 22 on the final play of the quarter. And the first quarter in Oakland ends all tied. It's the Broncos 7 and the Raiders 7 from Oakland.
Here's a roundup of the early scores. These are all finals from Week 8. Philadelphia over Arizona in overtime. Carolina shutting out the New Orleans Saints. Dallas beating Jacksonville on Troy Aikman's 64-yard pass to Herschel Walker. And the Jets and Bill Parcells getting their revenge over the Patriots. San Francisco holding off the challenge of the Atlanta Falcons. Seattle far too strong for St. Louis. Seattle could be the dark horses here. And the surprise of the week so far, Tennessee falling rather surprised, or rather beating the Washington Redskins, who are very disappointing this week.
Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, where the Denver Broncos gallop down the field to tie the score as the first quarter comes to a close. Mike Shanahan and John Elway getting together on the sideline, looking at some photos from upstairs.
You know, Tom, playing the Denver Broncos is not hard hanging with these guys early. Eventually, this Bronco team puts on a spurt. And when they spurt, you've got to go with them, much like in a distance race. When that guy goes out there, you better follow or you're dust.
Like a basketball game. Napoleon Kaufman has been the workhorse for the Oakland Raiders. And right now, let's send you back to New York, where Greg Gumbel has an update for us. Greg?
And while NBC viewers in America go back to New York, I'll remind you that next week our game is Jacksonville at Pittsburgh. Sky Sports 1, the usual time, 9 p.m. Nick Halling drooling all over the stadium as the Pittsburgh Steelers go play.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. 7-7 here, and the focus, as cliched as it might be, on the rush all around the league today, huh? Certainly here in Oakland. Rushing and stopping the rush. Jeff George, wide open. Tim Brown makes a diving reception. It'll be a Raider first down at their own 48-yard line, and that's vintage Tim Brown as George rifled it to him.
And that is also vintage Jeff George. I mean, this guy's body's completely open. Look at where he lays this rope. Nice catch by Tim Brown, but Jeff George is getting pressure. He moves. You know, if you're a young quarterback out there, that's not exactly the way those quarterback coaches teach you to throw the ball, but you've got two of the strongest arms in the entire league in the last 10 years in these two quarterbacks here today.
And Brown made him look good with a diving reception. First down Raiders at their 43 is where they spot it. And George, up against the play clock, has to spend a timeout. It comes with 13:35 left, first half. Bugles Raiders and the Broncos tied at 7. Today, the MetLife Blimp is giving us the aerial view of the Bay Area and today's Denver-Oakland game. And Snoopy, too, is never in the doghouse, no home base, constantly on the road, logging over 60,000 miles a year. 7-7 game, first down for the Raiders at their own 43. Jeff George, flag down, pass caught by James Jett. Jett matched up with Ray Crockett, penalty markers down.
Yeah, a little contact down the field defensively, I think.
Holding. Number 39 on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Crockett guilty of the hold as Jett, the Olympic sprinter who has a touchdown already in the game, makes this one.
But you just can't let Jeff George in this offense sit back there and try to find the receivers. You saw the hold. You see the speed. The speed tells you that separation happens. It starts to bother the defensive backs, but you've got to get after the quarterback of the Raiders or you're going to see that all day.
22-yard reception by Jett. First down at the 36 of the Broncos. Kaufman dodged a man in the backfield. Then sprints clear. Just caught by the shoe tops by Tyrone Braxton, who saved a touchdown. Gain of 11 yards. And the injured man is Braxton.
Talked about the zig and the zag out of Napoleon Kaufman earlier. Watch this one. He's dodging people in the backfield. Wisniewski comes around for a trap block, but Tanavasa's in the backfield. Braxton tries to ankle tackle him and can't get enough of the ankle to bring him down right away. I mean, right now they are just gutting the middle of this Denver defense with the running game.
While they tend to Tyrone Braxton, we'll take a break. The NFL on NBC. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross. Tyrone Braxton, we're told, just had the wind knocked out of him. He's all right on the Denver sideline. First down, Raiders at the 24. That's Tim Brown in motion. Kaufman on a little counter play. Gets a couple of yards. Steve Atwater makes the tackle for Denver, and that will put Kaufman either right at or just very close to 100 yards rushing in the first half.
Hey, we talked about Joe Bugles saying, I've got to have 25 touches out of Napoleon Kaufman. That was his 10th run this early in the second quarter, so he might not get 25, he might get 35.
Why not? Keep giving it to him till they stop him. 2nd and 8. Here's Kaufman again on the sweep. He's got blockers in front. Made a nice cut up. He's out of bounds and around the 10-yard line. Alan Aldridge got him out of bounds. Coming into today, Kaufman had 3 100-yard rushing games. Week 3, the Falcons, 14 carries, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns. Week 4, the Jets, a career-high 27 rushes, 126 yards. And Week 5, the Rams, 26 rushes, career-high 162 yards. Came into today's game with 557 on the season and has 100 in the first half, 114 yards against the Broncos defense. First down, goal to go from the 8. Fenner hesitates and then Pyle drives to the 4-yard line. Alan Aldridge again at the bottom of the stack for the Broncos.
Well, what a contrast in running backs from Napoleon Kaufman, and suddenly you get Derek Fenner. Fenner just sort of plows and hesitates a little bit. Kaufman would have been through that hole about 2 heartbeats earlier than Fenner even thought about getting through that hole.
So Fenner is out, and maybe Ray Perkins saw the same thing you did, gave Napoleon a 1-play rest, and sends him back on the field for 2nd and goal from the 4. Kaufman, beautifully played by Alfred Williams. He met him in the backfield and dropped him for a loss. Alfred Williams gets penetration and makes the big play on rush defense.
The only real big guy inside for the Denver Broncos is Keith Traylor. The rest of the defensive linemen are quick penetrators. Michael Dean Perry, Neil Smith is a quick penetrator. Alfred Williams, see coming from that defensive end, is a penetrator. And that's one thing that the Raiders are taking advantage right now is the lack of size and the quickness of the defensive line. They're saying, quick this, and just smacking them.
3rd and goal. Jeff George has missed only 1 pass all day, and he has a touchdown to his tight end, Ricky Dudley.
Tom, you do the NBA. This is a classic ex-basketball player posting up low. And in this case, low equals the end zone for Joe Bugles' offense. That big tight end, Ricky Dudley, coming from the right side, just settles in the end zone, turns that big black jersey and target to his quarterback. I mean, he was covered, and yet again, Jeff George puts him right in there.
Jeff George telling us in the red zone, he's the man to look for. A big target at 6'6", 255. Cole Ford's extra point is good. And the Raiders have regained the lead here, and Ricky Dudley with his 5th touchdown catch, and Jeff George going to leap into the stands, a la Lambeau.
Here's Ricky Dudley, and here's his low post position on the end zone. Check out what he does. Straight up, get your position, present the jersey to the quarterback. I mean, that's just perfect execution, and a bullet from George. Nice celebration. I mean, this stadium is real low on my list of places I jump in the stands, though, without some serious protection.
Cole Ford booms it out of the end zone on the kickoff. George was 3 for 3 on that drive, 45 yards and a touchdown, and here's the Lambeau lead.
He's a little winded, too, after going in the stands. You know, I'm not kidding. I mean, they did a guns for tickets thing here yesterday. These fans are crazy.
I don't believe I'd go there. Look at what's sitting in the stands.
I rest my case.
Go there, Jeff.
See, he didn't jump in behind the bench. These guys are behind the bench. He went into the end zone with the walls a little bit lower and the people looked a little bit more normal.
Well, the Raiders took the lead early. Elway and company answered. Now they find themselves trailing 14-7. The NFL's only unbeaten team. Usually that indicates a false start or contact with the
False
defense.
start. Number 65 on the offense. He's moving prior to the ball being snapped. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Gary Zimmerman, don't you veteran offensive linemen ever learn?
Hey, give the guy a break. He's hearing the snap out of the wrong ear. He was at right tackle, hearing the snap out of his left ear. Now he's at left tackle, hearing the snap out of his right ear.
First penalty against the Broncos makes it 1st and 15 from their 15-yard line. Elway sets up the screen. Nice snag by Davis, but it didn't do any good because Chester McLaughlin got by the screen blockers and was all over Terrell. Well, they're off to a 6-0 start here, but look what's happened when they've gotten to the good start. The end result not always favorable. 2 Super Bowl losses, 2 divisional playoff losses. But today, if they win, the Broncos could be their best start in history. They would be 7-0. They've never been there before. They trail by 7 here in the second quarter. Plenty of time for Elway. Wide open Rod Smith. And Rod Smith rambles for a first down to the 40-yard line where James Trapp catches up and pushes him out of bounds. There's Rod Smith, 3rd year from Missouri Southern, the former college quarterback who has really paid his dues to get to this point.
He came off the practice squad, spent a year or so learning how to be a receiver, learning how to run routes, getting stronger and getting more physical, which he found to be the biggest key in the NFL.
Smith, who said when he was on the practice squad, practice was his game day, just showing what he could do, trying to get a chance after playing quarterback at Missouri Southern. Here's Terrell Davis. Makes a sparkling run of 7 or 8 yards when it looked like he would be trapped in the backfield. Eric Turner makes the tackle from a free safety spot.
You know, a lot of things that Terrell Davis does really remind me of a guy I played with, Roger Craig. He's got that high knee action coming out of breaks. He's got that incredible work ethic. The guy just lifts and runs, and he's really such a centered, unaffected guy with all the success he's had.
Don't you agree? He's one of the most personable guys that we see in the whole league. Here he is on the pitch from Elway. Stopped a yard short of the first down, and pushing and shoving. Again, this is the Broncos and the Raiders. What do you expect? What a great start for Terrell Davis to this season. He ranks among the elite in National Football League history. After 6 games, 776 yards, 6th best start ever. Now, he's the 2nd leading rusher in the NFL. Barry Sanders has more, but he has an extra game on Terrell. Held in check, though, today by the Raiders, and it's 3rd and 1. We'll see if they go to Davis here. Here he is, and he's stopped again.
Mike Shanahan just watched his offensive line get stuffed. Terrell Davis trying to follow his fullback, Howard Griffith. He sees nothing but pants and have white on them and offensive linemen standing up. I mean, that was a great job by McLaughlin and the whole front of that Raiders defense.
Terrell Davis stuffed 2 plays in a row, and he's not happy about it. His ruin will punt. Is this the Denver defense that has been so weak against the rush? It looks like a completely different team. Play blown dead.
Well, we talked game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Tom, it's worth repeating. Chester McLaughlin told us, this defense has just been stewing for the last 2 weeks after being embarrassed the way they were by the Chargers. I mean, he said at the beginning of the year he thought no one would ever run on this defense. It was so strong. Eddie George goes out for 216 in the first week, and that was just a precursor.
Like they were pacing in their cages for this bye week, and suddenly released on the Broncos today. At least that's the story so far. Desmond Howard, fair catch, 18-yard line. 6:19 left, second quarter. After that 32-yard punt, the Raiders take over, up 7.
Good stuff from Oakland so far. This game just in the second quarter, 3 other games in the second quarter as well. Here's what's going on. Miami all over Baltimore. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with a couple of touchdown runs there after Matt Stover got things started for Baltimore. Nobody quite knows what the Detroit Lions are going to do from one week to the next. This week they're struggling against the New York Giants. Danny Cannell throwing a 2-yard touchdown pass to Howard Cross to get things started. New York threatening to become one of the surprise teams of the season. And the Cincinnati Bengals took the early lead against Pittsburgh. Keanu Carter with a 6-yard run. Cordell Stewart fired an 11-yard pass to George Jones. The kick failed, so the Bengals lead that one by 1.
Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, home to the Raiders and the Oakland A's, and the Warriors playing in the arena just adjacent. And there's Al Davis, who has to be pleased. He sent a message, he and Joe Bugle did, to his team with the suspension of Larry Brown earlier this week, and so far they have responded. Napoleon Kaufman diving, got maybe a yard only.
You know, really, aside from that game 2 weeks ago against the Chargers, their problem has not been playing football. Their problem has been finishing off football games. Joe Bugle's team has played, you know, in some cases 57, 58, 59 overtime losses of great football and not been able to finish teams off. I mean, it's just a missing link here. People say this team should be 5-1. Well, if you're a good team, you are 5-1. This is not right now a good team.
Pitch to Kaufman. Gets a seal block from Tim Brown. The pulling lineman getting free for another couple of yards. And the rushing game continues to pay dividends for Oakland. They're going to be about 2 yards short of a first down.
You know, all-pro and pro bowlers like Steve Wisniewski, the right guard pulling right here, are known for pancake blocks and whatnot. That was a screen block. He never really hits anybody. He just sort of screens them out and then does a pretty good job of screening out his running back, Napoleon Kaufman.
Kaufman has rushed for 120 yards, single-handedly besting the Broncos. Rushing attack. Kaufman. He's going to be very close to the first down. Let's see.
If he doesn't get it, it's because of that hop and evade he had to do in his own backfield. Had to change a little mid-course correction because of the penetration.
Kaufman already has rushed for more than Terrell Davis by a large margin. He has almost 100 more yards than does the AFC's leading rusher. Did he get the first down? Not quite. That much short. Joe Bugle decides to send out his punting team.
When you play the Denver Broncos, this defensive line, I told you, was quick. Watch the penetration on the left side of your screen. Penetration, push back, that's what keeps it down. You have to count on the penetration and count on a cutback run and getting the backside sealed. If you don't seal the backside, as they didn't do there, you're not going to get the run.
So just like the Oakland defense, the Denver defense makes a good short yardage stop. I should say Araguz, Leo Araguz will punt to Darian Gordon. Gordon at the 21, dodged the first man. Penalty markers are down. Gordon to the 30. John Henry Mills hits him there. It'll be against Oakland. We'll see if they make them punt over. The ball is at the 30-yard line of the Broncos if they decline the penalty.
You got a returner like Darian Gordon, it's going to push him back on a hold. I think you take this one and make him kick it again. You mentioned Gordon's got a 94-yarder to his credit, and this is a very good special team.
On the offense, the left side corner, it's a 10-yard penalty, still fourth down.
Araguz got off a 51-yard punt, and they'll make him try it again. And again, as you said, Gordon is very dangerous, the leading punt returner in the National Football League, but it doesn't look very healthy over on the sideline. They may have to return this one without him. As a matter of fact, it's Rod Smith that's back to receive this punt as Gordon injured on that last play. So Araguz now will punt from about his 5-yard line. Nearly blocked. It goes straight up in the air. There's another flag. Smith makes it back to midfield.
Running into the kicker.
Running into the kicker call against the Broncos coming up. Well, they couldn't stand prosperity. They wouldn't have had the ball at midfield.
Now, is this running into the kicker, which will be a 5-yard penalty, or roughing the kicker, which will be an automatic first down?
Bernie Kukar will tell us shortly. So a hold and a running into the kicker. I think that would be running into. In fact, it looked like Keith Burns was maybe blocked into Aragoose.
It also looked like Aragoose hung that leg out there pretty good for him to run into.
It gave him a nice target. Shanahan, like us, awaiting the call. Joe said, oh, okay. He was a little worried for a minute. Greg Biekert wants an explanation. So does Burns. Come on, Bernie. Well, on the field, there were players spread out over 60 yards. Nobody knows what's going on.
Holding number 21 on a receiving team. Number 56 running into the kicker. We will have a 5-yard penalty. Free kick. Running into the kicker is accepted.
Here's the hold on Randy Hilliard, number 21. Oh, that's full WWF there. That's a full takedown.
Yeah, he even got a little knee to the helmet and a little extracurricular there.
He got everything but a little help from the top rope.
A half Nelson once he got him down. So after all that, a 5-yard penalty, and they'll punt again. And Darian Gordon is back. See the penalties so far in the game. So Gordon is back to receive the punt.
A big punt here equals a big return.
Aragoose takes the low snap, boots it on its way. Gordon surrounded and dropped at the 40-yard line. Last night, Moises Alou's bat was the difference in the opening game of the World Series.
The 0-2 pitch hit deep to left. If it's fair, it's a 3-run homer. It's out of here.
Game 2, the Indians and the Marlins tonight. Immediately following this game here on NBC.
Moises Alou was nice enough after the game, too, to say that that wasn't a bad pitch at all by Hershiser. He just happened to get a good, quick swing at the bat. I think Hershiser might have argued with him a little bit about the pitch.
And the Marlins, in their first ever World Series game, go deep on the Indians and take a 1-0 lead. Game 2 later today. Terrell Davis fumbles that swing pass from Elway out of bounds and incomplete.
Well, right now you're seeing two football teams coming back off a bye, and Mike Shanahan said that last Monday after the days off, the team was a little bit off. The timing between the receivers and the quarterback were a little bit off. This offense right now is a little bit off. It's just not clicking. The Raiders look like they were mad for the last 2 weeks and have come out mad.
And you know it's not clicking when John Elway has outrushed Terrell Davis. Fake to Davis. Elway then passes it to him. He's got a blocker in front. Made a nice move to get free and has a first down. Blasted out of bounds at the 45-yard line by Eric Turner. Well, there's more than one way to get the ball into the hands of Terrell Davis.
Well, when you design a football play, you design it for the blocking, and then you usually say, look, the running back's got to make one guy miss. That's his guy. Terrell Davis's guy was trapped, 37, the safety, made him miss easily. And it's an aspect of his game that's gotten better over the last 2 years. That missability is really becoming a big part of his game.
Trapped with the whiff, and the Broncos with the first down at the 44 of the Raiders. And Davis bursts free. Terrell Davis caught with the shoe tops, dropped at the 25. Eric Turner saved the touchdown. But Terrell Davis, remember on the last series, twice stopped in short yardage situation. We saw how angry he was on the sideline. Now he's gone to work.
Well, Brian Habib, wonderful block on Mike Morton, 50, the linebacker, opens up about a 5-yard hole inside. And look at this, you're seeing nothing but knees
Sharp, I believe. That'll cost the Broncos 5.
And it's another one of those little post-by things Mike Shanahan talked about, making those kind of
Ball
mistakes.
start. Number 29 on the offense. Moving prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Called it on Howard Griffith. I think they could have nailed Sharp too.
Well, Griffith might have flinched, but Shannon Sharp right here almost falls down.
Chain reaction. I think Griffith went on Sharp's movement. Inside 3 minutes left till halftime. It's 1st and 15 from the Raider 30. Oakland up 14-7. Plenty of time for Elway, but the pass off target intended for Shannon Sharp. I don't know if it was tipped or not, but it didn't get close to Sharp.
Now, what they wanted to do is Shannon Sharp wanted to get that inside release on that seam. The linebacker Morton would not let him get inside, and Shannon Sharp immediately goes to the back judge here complaining about, you know, I was held, I was this. I mean, a lot of that's lobbying because he wasn't held. It was just good, strong defense.
Gary Kubiak calling this play 2nd and 15 from the 30. Chased by Beekert. Unloads, incomplete. Got the good rush on Elway that time from Beekert and Darrell Russell.
John Elway seeing a lot of the wrong kind of smiling faces in front of him. A middle linebacker in Beekert is blitzing. Look at Darrell Russell, 320 pounds, closing on the quarterback. And what's happening downfield? The receiver wants to come back, Rod Smith, to his quarterback, John Elway, for a reception, but John Elway has no time to get him the ball.
Elway's hit only one of his last 5 pass attempts. 3rd and 15. Complete to Davis. Davis bounced off a would-be tackler and is stopped short of the 20-yard line by Terry McDaniel. Ticking down toward the 2-minute warning.
Well, for such a smooth running engine about 2 weeks ago, John Elway and this offense looked like they got some bad gas up in Denver sometime in the last couple of days because they are missing.
Got to give credit to the Oakland defense, too, as the 2-minute warning will stop play. It'll be a Denver field goal attempt when we return. Vintage aircraft and a vintage Broncos-Raiders game. A lot of hard hitting, 14-7. One of these teams is going to crash today. And right now, the Raiders are in front, 14-7, as Jason Elam will attempt a 40-yard field goal. He's 7 of 8 on the season. Tom Ruin holds, and it's no good. Jason Elam from 40 yards can't connect.
Many kickers in this league hit a draw. We're familiar in seeing it in golf with that gentle right-to-left movement. They hit it at the right upright, and they count on it coming back left. That was stroked well at the right upright.
Too well.
Good aim. Good aim. Never left the target.
Well, he had dead aim on the upright, and the Raiders say, as it bounces back, no good. And with 1:55 left, Elam wants to see the replay. How many times do you think he'd have to kick to try to hit that? Kaufman, beautifully played by John Mobley. Mobley almost could have taken the handoff. He got there so quickly. Loss of 5.
And it's something we really haven't seen much out of this Denver defense so far is an attacking, blitzing the run, going after the run. Mobley was allowed for in the blocking pattern, but outside. He said, the heck with the blocking pattern, I'll go to the ball.
Jeff George completes the pass to James Jett. Darian Gordon immediately takes him out of bounds, stops the clock at 1:26 in the first half. Jet has a touchdown reception already in the game. And don't forget, at halftime, the Domino's Pizza NFL and NBC halftime report. Greg and company get you caught up on all the scores and highlights. That's coming your way in a minute 26. Intercepted by Romanowski, the linebacker, drawing coverage on the tight end Dudley. There's a penalty marker down.
Intended for Ricky Dudley. Penalty flag.
What a nice job of Romanowski on that coverage on Dudley. I mean, remember, that's a linebacker running with a guy that gives defensive backs trouble. And then you got to be honest and just say that was kind of a look what I found interception.
He was running downfield, though, with the young Colt Dudley, and it popped right into his hands.
Bill Romanowski, former teammate of mine, has been the best.
Walk in the back, number 91 of the intercepting team. That's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Alfred Williams with the block in the back after the change of possession.
Romanowski running with Dudley down the field. Look at him flinch up. He sees the ball's coming by the eyes of Dudley. Then this thing dances on his shoulder, dances on Dudley, finally gets the ball. But Romanowski's made a huge difference in this Denver defense. He has brought the work ethic and the attitude, because this guy is just a little bit nuts.
Romanowski with a turnover. Now Elway tries to take advantage of it and drills it complete to Terrell Davis. Falling ahead for 11 and a first down. Eric Turner hit him hard. Davis held on. And Denver takes a timeout with 1:08 left in the half. They trail the Raiders by 7. The NFL on NBC.
I enjoy going across the middle. Ooh. Intense. 60, 70,000 people are just screaming. Things just don't happen the way you expect. Do you ever get used to it? No.
Minute 8 left, second quarter, 14-7 Oakland over Denver. 2 timeouts left for the Broncos. They have the ball with a first down.
Well, having those 2 timeouts left, that means they can go into the middle of the field. That brings Shannon Sharp into play.
Operating from their own 43. Elway intercepted and then dropped. It'll be incomplete. Terry McDaniel never had possession. It'll give Elway another chance. McDaniel seemed to have it, couldn't hold on.
Well, McDaniel wasn't the only one besides me that thought maybe Shannon Sharp comes into a play like this. He sloughs off out of his coverage and takes a gamble and should have had an interception.
Instead, it's Denver's ball, now 2nd and 10 with 1:01.
Against John Elway, you can't pass up chances he gives you to beat him.
Blitz comes, he gets it to Davis. Davis with some open field. Gets another block from Smith. He's out of bounds at the 40-yard line. James Trapp forced him out. But Terrell Davis, stopped for the most part by the Oakland defense on the ground, has gone to the air and with a couple of receptions for big plays for the Denver offense.
And that's an example of why you've got to take advantage of John Elway's mistakes. Because if you don't, he's got the weapons in his arsenal to make you pay for it. Nothing fancy, really not that big of a deal. Chester McLaughlin was in the area, but good team blocking. McCaffrey down the field got him the last 10 yards with that block.
And it goes for 17 yards. First down from the 40 of the Raiders. Elway throws that one away. Rush bearing down on him. Elway throws it away. Stops the clock with 49 seconds.
This play what? This offense has changed a little bit with John Elway, with the receivers he has now, and Rod Smith and McCaffrey. In an offense that John used to like to stretch the ball vertically down the field, a lot like the Raiders, and straight down the field patterns. This is an offense now that kills you more with crossing patterns and the run after the catch.
From the gun, 3 wide receivers and Shannon Sharp in a tight end spot. Fumble. Fallen on. The Broncos will retain possession. Terrell Davis.
That was a direct snap to Terrell Davis, and Terrell Davis fumbled it.
Was he not ready for it, or was it a bad snap? In any event, disaster narrowly averted. We'll be right back.
Man, is this the life? Out here enjoying a great outdoor, and getting a little exercise. Just having some time to myself, meeting some real nice folks. I couldn't ask for any more. And it's a beautiful day.
John Elway talking to Gary Kubiak and Mike Shanahan. Here's the play.
Watch the snap. You know, remember, Tom Nalen, the center, isn't looking. He's trying to snap it just off, trying to find the target. He put that about knee high. Terrell Davis should have had that ball.
In fact, you could see Davis already looking where he was going to run. Didn't follow the ball into his hands and had to fall on it, setting up a 3rd and 17, now back at the 47-yard line. McCaffrey came in motion, almost collided with the snap. And here's McCaffrey now receiving the pass and making a good one out of it. Dives for a Denver first down. Big play by Ed McCaffrey on his first reception of the game. Timeout Broncos.
What a nice play designed by Mike Shanahan and his offense. McCaffrey is going to come in here as a flanker, get lost, and then go out for the screen. And once again, good blocking down the field from a receiver. See right there, Willie Green gets that little shove and buys McCaffrey the extra yards. This is an offense spends a lot of time with the receivers blocking down the field. And in these situations already, the last half dozen plays or so, you've seen why.
And heads up by McCaffrey. He knew just how much he had to have for the first down and made that last lunge to just pick it up with less than a yard to spare. Broncos have used their final timeout. There are 31 seconds left. First down, Denver at the 20-yard line, or excuse me, at the 28-yard line of the Raiders. Elway for the end zone. Incomplete, flag down. Willie Green battling with Perry Carter.
Willie Green had his hands all over Perry Carter trying to adjust to come back. That was an intentional underthrow, but Willie Green interfered with Perry Carter.
And it's going to be called that way.
See the push in the back right there. He knows the ball's underthrown, and he gives that little push in the back with the arm on Carter.
And of course, Carter has a right to the football too.
Number 85 on the offense. A 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Elway buried under the rush as he let it go.
That's a little bit of what this entire Denver team is being treated like a little bit by this Raider team. The Raider team has come out with a little bit of that old swagger and that old attitude, and they're not the ones making the dumb mistakes. So far, it's been the Broncos.
25 seconds left, 1st and 20. Now from the 38-yard line. Elway got away from the rush, finds Davis, cut back, got him free from one man. Then he's tackled at the 27-yard line by Lorenzo Lynch. No timeouts left.
About 10 seconds. Better hurry up. Get these guys set.
They are set, and Elway downs it to set up a field goal attempt with 4 seconds remaining. Elam, his last attempt from 40 yards, hitting the right upright, no good. Now we'll get another chance. It'll be about a 43-yard attempt. Let's see where they set it down.
Well, John Elway and that offense, too, have got to be hot. They had an opportunity to make something happen more than a field goal-wise.
Elam's kick this time is dead center. Jason Elam connects from 44 yards as the first half comes to a close. So the Romanowski interception leads to the field goal. Elway couldn't get it in the end zone, but did get the field goal as the half comes to an end. So at halftime, the Oakland Raiders holding on to the lead over the unbeaten Denver Broncos. (14-10) score at halftime. Oakland bidding for the upset of the Broncos. And now let's go to Greg Gumbel at our New York studios for the Domino's Pizza NFL and NBC halftime report.
Well, the one thing that jumps out obviously right there, 121 yards offense, 121 yards rushing for the Raiders. And what you've seen in one half is exactly why this team is so dangerous. You're never really quite sure who's going to show up. It worried Mike Shanahan, and as far as he's concerned, so far the wrong Raider team showed up.
Cole Ford with the kickoff taken by Von Hebron. And he is tackled at about the 20-yard line to get the second half underway. Well, Randy, we said that this was a must-win game for the Oakland Raiders, and to give them credit, they came out in the first half playing that way, didn't they?
They really did. And, you know, we're impressed by the running game of Napoleon Kaufman, and you mentioned in the first half, you've got to be impressed defensively at what the Oakland Raiders are doing. They're making John Elway and the Denver Broncos do their second to third option, and they're not looking very good doing it.
So now Elway and company will start from the 20-yard line. And it's complete all the way out to the 40-yard line. Howard Griffith, with only his 5th reception of the season, makes a big play for the Denver offense to get the second half underway.
And you're giving them the unexpected. When they're making you go to your second or third option, you don't give it to Davis, you don't give it to Sharp, you give it to Howard Griffith. Hasn't been used for much, really more than a blocker with Denver. Caught passes with the Carolina Panthers in the past, but today comes out in the second half. Big unexpected play.
Terrell Davis fumbles and bounced right back to him, but he stopped at the line of scrimmage at the 40-yard line for no gain.
Timing's a funny thing. We talked about the timing between the receivers and whatnot being a little off. Terrell Davis's timing between him and the football is a little bit off. He fumbled the direct snap from Tom Nalen at the end of the first half, and that ball there goes right in his chest. And, you know, he has not been the featured runner today. Napoleon Kaufman has stolen the number 2 in the NFL running back's thunder.
2nd and 10. Complete to Sharp. Shannon fumbled the ball, picked up by a Bronco. It's Rod Smith. Well, that's the 3rd time that the Broncos have fumbled and recovered. James Trapp dislodged the ball from Shannon Sharp.
At halftime, Mike Shanahan had to give this team not really a tongue lashing, but a general play your football, relax, and just do what you do best. Well, we've seen so far that they are not doing what they do best. They're doing what would be in the best interest of the Raiders if they recover those fumbles.
3rd and 2. Sharp, first down Broncos, all the way down to the 36-yard line. James Trapp again forced to stop Shannon Sharp. Elway looked right for his spit tight end, and he found him for the first down.
You know, John Elway has seen an awful lot of the defensive line pass rush-wise. On this play, look at the lane he's got the throwback right through there on the left side. A perfect lane to get that ball to Shannon Sharp. That's what he needs. If you're going to rush him, push the rush off to the sides and give him the throwing lanes to get it through.
Elway has found Sharp 3 times now for 48 yards. Davis picking his way forward, a nice run. Close to 10 yards. James Trapp hopped on his back, finally able to ride him down. But But the Denver offense coming out ready to play to start this third quarter and marching steadily downfield.
You know, that was set up. Gary Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, calls that running play, but it was set up by Terrell Davis. Terrell Davis knew the blocking pattern, knew what to expect, and then set up his blocks. In two different occasions on that one run, he set his own teammates up to make better blocks.
Close enough to the first down that they will measure, and it's just inches short.
Second and 1.
Well, Mike Shanahan, talking about his Denver team and being unbeaten, says it's easy to lull yourself when you have success into a false sense of security. And what he's been preaching to his players is we haven't accomplished anything yet.
Well, he's absolutely right, and he doesn't even have to bring up the dreaded J word either.
Jacksonville eliminating the Broncos from the playoffs at Mile High last year in one of the shocking games of the season.
He's going to trot that thing out there once they hit the playoff time.
You can bet on that. Second and inches. Terrell Davis. Thrown back, but not until his forward progress will net him the first down. Greg Biekert was first to arrive on the scene for the Oakland defense.
You know, Terrell Davis gets the first down there, but we've seen again here early in the third quarter, the surge is not on the side of the Broncos, it's on the side of the Raiders, and it's not a new thing. You look at what he's averaged against the rest of the NFL, 3.1 a carry. I mean, 3 yards of late for Terrell Davis. He's fallen down and gotten 3 yards.
First down, Broncos, 26 of Oakland. Play action fake, Elway right through the hands of Rod Smith.
You hear all the time the things about reaction time when you're driving. Well, how about reaction time here? Your body's trying to adjust, your hands are trying to adjust, and that blur that barely was visible on the screen was John Elway's bullet.
Right through the hands of Rod Smith. You better be ready, that ball can hurt you.
Oh, he's had more than a few receivers come out of practices and games with big red X's on their chests.
Elway throwing in traffic and the ball dislodged. It'll be incomplete, intended for Smith. Pretty good coverage, and Greg Biekert along with Terry McDaniel sandwiching Smith.
There aren't many quarterbacks in the NFL that throw that pass. We've seen Jeff George fit a ball into a covered receiver. A couple weeks ago we saw Danny Marino shove one into a covered receiver. I mean, this is not what you would read as wide open, but Elway fits this thing anyway, and Smith should have made that catch.
A well-timed hit by Greg Biekert, who's having a fine game in the Oakland defense. 7 straight quarters without the TD pass. Amazing. Elway got the blitz, found Sharp, out of bounds near the first down marker.
Remember, it's the ball, not his feet. He danced his feet out past the first down marker, but the ball, I don't think, ever made it by the marker.
Eric Turner made sure of that. Turner, the former Cleveland Brown and Baltimore Raven, one of the harder hitting safeties in the league.
You have to watch the very end of this play. Shannon Sharp makes a nice effort to get his feet past the marker, but the ball in his upper body was lagging back behind it. And John Elway gets this thing just off in time before Fredrickson gives him his little pop, and
took Davis all the way with him, didn't he?
Davis sits on his ribs.
Thanks a lot. And it is just by inches enough for the first down. So first down Broncos. The last time Elway went a 2-game stretch without a TD pass in 1993. To open this third quarter, though, he has marched the Broncos steadily downfield. This will be the 10th play of the drive coming up. For the day, he's closing in on 200 yards through the air. Over the head of Shannon Sharp.
You know, today the Denver Broncos are not the better team. The Raiders have shown that they're more ready to play. They're playing much better football than John Elway's Broncos so far. You've got to come away here with a touchdown. If you don't come away with a touchdown, you're going to pad John Elway's stats eventually, because you get frustrated and take field goals against the Raiders the way they're playing. that LA Oakland 10 and 14 is liable to grow on you in the wrong direction.
The only AFC West team that he has a losing record against. McLaughlin came charging across. Was he drawn?
That'll be his story.
And he's sticking to it. See if anybody else is buying it.
Encroachment, 91 on the defense, unabated towards the quarterback, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
You know what happens there a lot of times, Tom? You see McLaughlin here, he's looking at the ball where Nalen has it. I can tell you by experience, centers have been known to squeeze footballs and move them and twitch them a little bit to try to get defensive linemen to jump off sides.
No, a shocking revelation.
Yeah, gamesmanship.
You didn't ever do that, did you?
Only when I thought I could get away with it.
They got away with it that time. They got 5 easy yards from the Raiders, and it's second down and 5. Davis. That's about 3.
A lot of teams nowadays in the NFL feature power running. But Gary Kubiak on the left there, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Shanahan have an offensive line that moves very well. So even here in this part of the field, where most teams want to go to power, Tom, watch the blocking pattern. They will pull guards backside, and they love to use the quick trap.
3rd and 2 from the 7. Pitch to Davis. Cuts up. First down. Stopped at the 3-yard line. 1st and goal, Denver. Greg Beekert forced to make another tackle from that middle linebacker spot.
Watch the penetration right here up into the backfield. Tom Nalen, the center, being driven forward by Russell Maryland, but the rest of the defense is stretched out so much, they allow for the penetration, and Davis is able to take advantage for the first down.
Ball's just inside the 4-yard line. 13th play of the drive coming up. Davis dances to the outside. Touchdown! Well, at halftime, Mike Shanahan got the attention of his team, and they opened the 3rd quarter with a sustained march for a touchdown.
I'm not sure if this was flag football and you were playing in a phone booth, that Albert Lewis would have gotten the flag even in a phone booth off of Terrell Davis. What a nice cutback and move on a play that really was not blocked very well.
Elam trying to add the extra point. And he puts it through. A salute to the offense of the Broncos as they open the 3rd quarter with a touchdown march to take the lead. Snoopy 2 under the command of Captain Marty Chandler, providing the aerial views today, and that World War I flying ace Snoopy celebrating his 10th anniversary on the MetLife Blimp. Desmond Howard bouncing off one man, falls forward to the 20-yard line, where the Raiders will have the ball for the first time in the second half. 8:27 left, 17-14 Broncos.
Sky's coverage of the NFL is sponsored by the NASDAQ stock market.
Denver Broncos lead the Oakland Raiders 17-14. After the Raiders played so well in the first half, they find themselves trailing now. First play from scrimmage, Napoleon Kaufman took the handoff and raced 57 yards. A big play on the for the touchdown, but the Broncos have come back, and a first down run by Napoleon Kaufman gets only short yardage, a yard or so.
Yeah, it's a really good example of what I was really talking about, though. The score, 17-14, as good as the Raiders played, they find themselves down by 3 points. That's why I was making the point about you've got to get a touchdown there for the Broncos. Because if you get the field goal, you're still down by a point. You get the touchdown, suddenly you get the attitude of things are back in their natural order, being up, and the Raiders, you hope, start to press.
John Elway engineering an 80-yard drive to open the third quarter. George is sacked. Back at the 10-yard line by Alfred Williams. First sack of the season for Williams, 45 now in his career.
There's a double thought process here for Alfred Williams. First of all, he's thinking quarterback. Once he gets in here, and they foolishly try to block him with a running back, which shouldn't be done, then he's thinking football. Jeff George does a nice job of protecting it, but Williams knew he had the sack, and he was trying to strip the quarterback. How do you put a running back on Alfred Williams?
No way. That is the classic mismatch. It's 3rd and 19. And it'll be a penalty against Pat Harlow for a false start.
Well, they had a tackle on him that time.
Yeah, well, they learned that lesson.
On the offense. Moving prior to the ball being snapped, that's a 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
It's been lessons. So far as you don't put it back on Alfred Williams, and the second one is if you put a tackle on him, tell him to go on the snap count, and you don't get a penalty. About 5 yards too early.
And things unraveling here early in the third for the Raiders. Now they face a 3rd and 24. Fifth penalty, 35 yards against the Raiders.
Don't get greedy here if you're Jeff George.
He didn't. He got it to Derek Fenner. Fenner will fend for himself and not get much. Fourth down. Mobley with the tackle for Denver. Let's go back to New York and check with Greg Gumbel.
And while they check with Greg Gumbel, remember, if American sports your bag, then Sky Sports 3 is the place for you. Monday at 8 p.m., Florida Marlins, World Series Game 2 against the Cleveland Indians. Remember, the Marlins won Game 1.
All right, Greg Gumbel, thank you very much. As we look at Leo Araguz in punt formation in a 17-14 game. Darian Gordon awaiting the punt. Fourth punt of the game for Araguz. Oh, snap. Booms it toward Gordon. Fields it at the 29-yard line. Gordon trying to get behind that wall of blockers. Spun down at about the 42-yard line by Folston. Bay Area, home team down. Welcome back to Oakland. Remember Lorenzo Lynch predicting the Broncos' demise in the playoffs last year. Well, he's got a big bullseye on his chest today. Earlier involved in a little scuffle, and here he is again with Glenn Cadrez. Lynch of the Raiders is taking a beating, a marked man today. First down at the 43 for the Broncos. Terrell Davis working his way sideways to try to edge forward for 2 or 3 yards. There's Greg Biekert again. Biekert's been all over the field today for the Raider defense.
And a lot of that's due to the fact that his guys up front, we talked about the change with Darrell Russell being up front and Anthony Smith starting at the other end. With Maryland McLaughlin inside, they have kept the active blockers of the Broncos off the middle linebacker and enabled Biekert just to run to the ball.
2nd and 8. Smith, they went to his knees to make the catch, just shy of midfield. Immediately pounced on by Terry McDaniel.
A lot of this field isn't in great shape because it's sodded after baseball season, but Rod Smith might have found the singularly worst part of the field to slip in. And, you know, John Elway, not exactly ecstatic about the results there, but he had a receiver that was falling down well before he ever got that ball to him.
This pass was a little low, too. You saw the body English of Elway trying to get a little elevation on it. Third down play. Elway's pass to Smith. Caught. First down, Denver. McDaniel again matched up on Smith, and Smith again wins the battle, this time for a first down at the 45 of Oakland.
You know, one thing John Elway can still do as good as anybody in the game is when it calls for an exact throw, he gets there exactly where it needs to be. And he put that ball, there couldn't have been more than a 14-inch window that he's throwing this one through. The angle between McDaniel and Smith was barely open, but he fit it through the porthole.
And speaking of exact, Smith knew where he had to go to get the first down, too. Elway pumps once, scrambles for time, looking downfield and hitting his man Smith at the 35-yard line. Again, Smith matched up on McDaniel, comes back to the football and picks up 11 yards.
Well, exactly what you say, come back to the football, Tom. These receivers are taught when John Elway does this, if you're running down the field as Smith is, come back to John, give him a target, give him somewhere to throw the ball. Smith, the pump fake tells Smith to go long. The second he sees his quarterback in trouble, he runs back and gets the first down.
At the 34-yard line, 3:44 left, third quarter. Flag down as Elway connects to Griffith. Tracked down by Mike Morton. We'll check the penalty flags. False start against the Broncos.
Illegal formation. Number 77 on the offense was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Not a false start, but an illegal formation. They have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage, and Jones wasn't up there.
Right there. But again, possibly a product of being on the other side. Used to lining up at left tackle, now at right tackle. Yeah, just your brain goes a little fuzzy because all your angles and all your footwork are just going from the opposite side.
7 penalties, 45 yards against the Broncos. Davis pounding to the 33. Beekert's there again. Terrell Davis has been more productive through the air on the receiving end today, actually, than running the football, I think. But don't count him out. He is continuing to pound away, and that has a cumulative effect against the defense, doesn't it?
Well, it really does, especially when he starts giving you that pounding type style, and you forget about the cutback ability and his ability to squirt. Because he can squirt sideways and be at full speed within a step as good as almost anybody else.
Now he's at a wide receiver to the bottom of your screen. Griffith, the only man left in the backfield. And Elway to Griffith, hit immediately, ball loose and incomplete. There's our man, Greg Beekert, once more.
Well, the Raiders' defense was not fooled by the formation. They put Terrell Davis all the way down at the bottom of the formation. And then you've got Greg Beekert right here who says, the heck with Terrell Davis. My responsibility now is the back-end motion. And he is all over Howard Griffith. I mean, even if he catches that ball, it's nowhere near enough for a first down.
It's 3rd and 9 for the Broncos. Beekert on the sideline getting taped up. Elway fumbles the ball. It's still loose. And it's picked up by the Raiders. Eric Turner with a blocker in front. Turner down the sideline for a touchdown. Among the casualties, referee Bernie Klukar, who was run over.
Justin McLaughlin got the pressure. The defense forces John Elway to his second and third option. Believe me, folks, on the options list, that wasn't one of them.
And what about James Trapp, the speedster, downfield to give Turner a block that sprung into the end zone?
Well, it's a dream for a defensive player, anybody, to pick up a ball and go for 6, but especially when you got somebody as fast as Trapp in front of you to lead your mini convoy, kind of a VW bug convoy.
season, it's been the Bronco defense that makes the big plays for scores. So the Oakland defense takes a page from that book. Turner, 65 yards. Raiders in front. Eric Turner, a native Californian from Ventura, California, prep All-American there in high school, and an All-American with the Bruins of UCLA. Spent 5 years in Cleveland, 1 in Baltimore before he came over to the Oakland Raiders, and his 65-yard fumble recovery and return has put the Raiders back on top. Ford's kick to Hebron, taken at the goal line with a seam, and then it closes down. There's a penalty marker as he's tackled at the 23-yard line by James Folston. Bernie Kukar, by the way, the referee, who was knocked flat on his back on the fumble return, is, as you see, back on his feet and apparently okay. Holding call against the Broncos, nullifying a 22-yard return.
Holding number 59 on the return team, on the run back, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Glenn Cadrez called for the penalty. Joe Bugles happy again. His Raiders are back on top. The NFL on NBC.
21-7 Oakland. What a fragile thing momentum is. Just when you were saying, Nick, that it looked like the Raiders' heads were dropping, Denver, a real crucial penalty that put them in this situation where Elway had to pass.
That was such a huge play because it looked like the play had actually been completed, and I saw 1 or 2 heads dropping on the Oakland defensive side, but the play got called back, and then we get the big play against them, and the Raiders have the lead back, and it's no more than they deserve.
Horizontal football is back in town in Oakland. Let's get back there.
Lance Johnstone has become a designated pass rusher for the Raiders, and here he does his job.
Tony Jones just gets off on him, but he gets the hand in there that strips the ball before McLaughlin ever got to Elway.
And then Turner is off to the races, 65 yards for the touchdown. Elway, first down pass, threads it into Shannon Sharp. Morton and Beekert had him covered, one on either side, and it didn't matter to John Elway with that great arm and that great vision. He puts it right as a laser into Shannon.
Well, if you have questions about how the Broncos can react to adversity when their A game isn't there, you're going to find out here in the second half, because their A game is definitely not here, and they're definitely making the mistakes they usually don't make.
Elway spreading the ball around with 5 different receivers today. Davis out of the backfield has caught a half dozen. Here he is on the sweep. Terrell Davis has a first down. Albert Lewis forced to make the tackle and run support. Lewis talking to us about the pounding that you take, especially from Shannon Sharp when you're playing defense against the Broncos.
Well, not to mention also when you're in a position, as he never was with Kansas City, of run support, just like right there. You know, Rod Smith is trying to work on the outside to work on Lewis. Look at Lewis, he sheds them. Now he's got to do run support. I mean, in Kansas City, he was a cover guy. He's got a complete game now with the Raiders. He has to do all those different things.
That's what he said to us. He said he's become a much more complete player here in his 15th season. The injured Bronco is Howard Griffin, being helped to his feet. The NFL season extends to the World Wide Web at NFL.com, the league's official website. All the scores and stats, including a complete roundup of this weekend's scores and action, plus chat live with some of the NFL's biggest stars, all at NFL.com.
That internet's the best thing that ever happened to sports.
Makes our job easier, doesn't it?
Oof. I tell you that, and people that love to play fantasy football and fantasy basketball or any other kind of thing, you can follow anything you want sports-wise on the web.
Griffith goes to the sideline. Terrell Davis, the lone setback. 2 tight end formation for the Broncos as Elway throws it wide of his intended receiver, Dwayne Carswell.
Yeah, he threw that one about a knuckle wide. That space between the middle knuckle to the tip of your fingers, that's about all as far as he threw that ball a little too wide. But, you know, it's very typical of what Elway and this offense have done. They've looked fairly good at times, but they're just not right.
Look at that, 55 plays to 29 for Oakland. Oakland true to its big play form, offense and defense, as it turns out. Elway lofts it for McCaffrey. Couldn't get there. He was looking over his inside shoulder. The ball came over his outside.
Hey, you see some of those great old highlight, black and white type highlight films of, you know, Elroy, Crazy Leg Hurst, talking about we used to practice catching the ball coming over our heads. I guarantee you McCaffrey and Elway don't spend too much time practicing throwing that over the other shoulder, especially when John's balls drop out of the air a little quicker than the old floaters.
And for another reason, Elway's usually right on target. They've converted 3 of 7 on 3rd and long. They face a 3rd and 10 here. Draw play, flag down. Terrell Davis, nothing. Scrambles free, but still nowhere to go. James Trapp made sure.
That's either illegal formation or the motion man Smith moving towards the line of scrimmage before the ball was snapped.
And it's well short of the first down, so the Raiders will decline.
Illegal shift. 2 men on the offense are moving. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Remember we talked about Rod Smith in motion right there. That's one guy moving.
31 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Tom Ruin on to punt. It'll be his 4th of the game.
This year, Tom, but this is a great time momentum-wise to keep the ball away from a guy that could go hit you with a home run.
Ruin boots it on its way, end over end. Howard from about his 40, got about 5 yards to the 45-yard line. It's coming in 2 weeks, the return of the NBC Saturday Trilogy, 3 amazing shows. The Pretender, the newest thrill on the Saturday Trilogy. Sleepwalkers. Plus the return of Profiler. The NBC Saturday Trilogy returns November 1st on NBC.
Well, we got a couple sleepwalkers playing out here today.
And the Raiders are thrilled so far with the result. They're up 21-17, 10 seconds left in the 3rd. Jeff George steps up and he does his John Elway impersonation, and he has a 1st down. Give him 12 yards. As the 3rd quarter comes to a close.
The difference is Jeff George wasn't looking for a place to fall down.
Can the last unbeaten team in the league come back? 4th quarter coming up after these messages from your local station. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross, ready to start the 4th quarter in Oakland. It'll start with Jeff George trying to regroup a bit. Alfred Williams there gets him by the face mask, and then George falls on the football. During the break, he was over on the sideline trying to catch his breath, threw a few to loosen up. Back on the field, 1st down, Raiders. Napoleon Kaufman looked for a moment, he would break free. Picked up by the Raiders, fumbled by Kaufman. Braxton has it for the Broncos, and they're down to the 35-yard line of the Raiders. Well, a similar similar circumstance to what happened before as Elway fumbled and the Raiders recovered. Here's Tyrone Braxton picking up the fumble by Napoleon Kaufman, and the Broncos are in business.
Well, if you followed the Raiders this year, this should come as no surprise that off of a mistake by somebody else, they somehow managed to make one of their own. Michael Dean Perry made the hit that broke that ball loose. Braxton happens to be in the right place. But the key for the Broncos right now is who's going to stop making the dumb mistakes. And that was the first one, really, for the Raiders.
Here you see the turnover as a first down play. John Elway scrambling, loading, and firing, and throwing it out of bounds. There's a penalty marker on the play.
That was a pretty good shot on John Elway there at the end.
Holding call against the Raiders. That's an automatic first down.
Holding. Number 29 on the defense. The 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, you mentioned earlier, Tom, about how physical you have to be with these receivers, and Albert Lewis knows it. He talked about working on the sled a little bit. But you know what? I've never tried to tear the cover off the sled. He didn't really hit it. He grabbed it.
Bring back the tearaways.
And John Elway, Darrell Russell's already been penalized once and fined this year for hitting the quarterback.
Chris Chandler of the Falcons. Terrell Davis. Got a yard. Darrell Russell, the big rookie, second player picked in the draft this year. The All-American from Southern California.
See, now you see it, now you don't. You see the hole? It's right there. Now you don't. That was closed up first by Rob Fredrickson, number 53, making the stop. And a nice job by the young, enthusiastic rookie Russell of coming off a block and closing on the tackle.
We watched him in practice yesterday. He had legs like oak trees, didn't he?
That's an insult to oak trees.
Swing it to Davis. He's one-on-one with Lewis and is out of bounds, short of the first down.
Well, you're absolutely right. You get him and Chester McLaughlin together, Darrell Russell. I mean, there are, about 30-inch thighs on both those guys. And the legs on Darrell Russell, I mean, those are big, fresh legs, too. They haven't been playing a lot.
There they are.
And, folks, that silver has a slimming effect, believe me. He's a rookie. You know how I can tell? He's got no pads in his pants. He's got pads in his pants. See the old guy McLaughlin next to him here? No pads, pads.
Third and 3. Elway stands in the pocket, deflected. I think it was McLaughlin that got a big paw in front of it. It was indeed. Nailing it up with a football, batted right back into his arms.
Well, Elway throws that ball, and have no misconception. Those hands of Chester McLaughlin's, those are made for knocking balls down. They do not stick to those hands. I don't care how sticky those gloves might be. The ball isn't sticking to those hands.
Now it's 4th down and 4, and a field goal attempt. Elam from 43 yards. And it's no good. Second miss of the day for Elam. He hooked that one to the right. And the score remains 21-17 Raiders.
So this one's boiling up, and the other 3 games currently in progress. Interesting happenings there as well. They're all fourth quarter scores. Miami holding off Baltimore. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 3 touchdown runs in the first half made it 21-3. A couple of field goals each then. Vinny Testaverde has hit Derek Alexander from 34 yards to put Baltimore in the picture. Interesting game in Detroit. Amani Toomer putting the New York Giants on top 17-10. It was 10-all at the half. That was on a 55-yard punt return. Jason Hanson, those just chipped a field goal for Detroit. And Pittsburgh continued to pull away from Cincinnati. Cordell Stewart, 11 yards to Yancey Thigpen to go with Jerome Bettis' 1-yard run. Norm Johnson's field goal.
Skyline of Oakland, California, where the Raiders are trying to upset the previously undefeated Denver Broncos, 21-17. Jeff George on first down. Through the hands of Tim Brown and incomplete, nearly intercepted. Brown has made only 1 reception in the game. This is the third time the Broncos have gotten off to a 6-0 start. The first time, 1977. Their opponent, Week 7, the Raiders. Behind a stingy Raiders defense and the arm of Ken Stabler, the Raiders handed the Broncos their first defeat that season, 24-14. So the Broncos finished 12-2 and went to the Super Bowl, where they lost to the Cowboys. And the Oakland Raiders now trying to turn a similar trick, leading the unbeaten Broncos 21-17.
But the highlight so far has been the feet of Napoleon Kaufman. Nothing for him that time. Might have lost a yard. John Mobley and Steve Atwater stuffing the run.
But you notice the attacking form of the defense now. Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos, has got to start taking a few more chances on the defensive side of the ball. The sitting back and getting his guys blocked, which happened in the first half of the running game, didn't work as effectively. But we've seen the last 10 or 12 runs for the Raiders, almost a blitz the run attitude out of the Denver defense.
Greg Robinson, defensive coordinator of the Broncos, calling his strategy with 3rd and 11. Fake the blitz, nobody comes. Still, they get to Jeff George, and they sacked by Neil Smith, I believe. The Broncos were all over George, and there's a Neil Smith. He's certainly a candidate for one of the best free agent acquisitions.
Well, you know, it had to be somebody that plays for the Broncos or used to play in the AFC West from the Boo. Neil Smith gets right here with his little home run post-sack swing working against Lincoln Kennedy. That was an effort type of a sack to get there to the quarterback, because he was blocked pretty well, but he just got there with a body twist.
Araguz to punt. Darian Gordon awaits it. And he backpedals all the way to the 20-yard line. Plays off one blocker. Used his teammate well. There's a penalty marker down as Gordon gets only minimal yardage on the return. 6 yards after it was booted 52. There's Lorenzo Lynch again being shoved by a Denver player.
Lynch.
Well, the Broncos, as you said, they don't have their A game today. Uncharacteristic.
Number 21 on the return team, on the run back. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Randy Hilliard on the penalty. Raiders clinging to a 4-point lead.
So Denver came out rolling in the second half. Since then, it's been mistakes and penalties. Let's see if it changes.
That's the dockyards and freight yards of Oakland in the fog. The Pacific Ocean, San Francisco lying just west. That aerial view from the MetLife blimp. Snoopy 2 teaming up with NBC today. The MetLife blimp typically cruising at 35 miles an hour at 1,200 feet. John Elway lets it go, and it's broken up. Well-timed hit by Rob Fredrickson. Pass intended for Detron Smith.
And Kevin Johnson, a backup defensive tackle, gets himself a little piece of number 7 right there, John Elway. The coverage is good. The timing is off. And when John Elway starts regularly getting hit like this, you know a defense is either attacking the heck out of their quarterback or the offensive line isn't doing a very good job. And I think the offensive line's having an off day right now for the Denver Broncos.
And the Oakland defense, for a change, came to play. Nice catch in traffic by Smith that time. He'll be short of the first down by 3 or 4 yards. Again, Fredrickson draws the assignment and makes the play on Smith.
And one thing really unusual right now, too, we're seeing is from a penalty standpoint, the Denver Broncos, and not only have they turned the ball over some, they've been making the mistakes. They're holding on returns. They're jumping off sides. They've got 9 penalties so far for 65 yards. And look at the opportunities they've missed so far just in this second half, and they have a missed field goal in the first half.
Looked like they had righted their ship on that opening 80-yard drive to take the lead, but since then, not much done. Here's the reverse. Smith couldn't get a block, but does have a first down. Trap chases him out of bounds. Was 1 block away from maybe taking it for the touchdown.
Well, if you got a defense attacking, the best way to take advantage of it is over pursuit. Over pursuit on one side by the Raiders defense sets up a run to that side by Rod Smith. And that should have been a penalty right there on Trap.
Smith was well out of bounds when he got hit by Trapp.
Smith, the native of Texarkana, pounding ahead across the 40-yard line, determined run by Terrell Davis.
Yeah, the Raiders defense at this point is looking for a big play, looking for another opportunity. They squandered a couple of big plays that John Elway tried to give him on an interception and on a couple fumbles that the Broncos ended up recovering. From the Broncos standpoint, this is take a deep breath and run your offense the way you know how to run it, or that so-called perfect string you had going at 6-0 is about to come to a screeching halt.
Davis has carried 23 times for 83 yards. Elway under pressure, unloads for McCaffrey. Knocked down, incomplete. Good coverage by Albert Lewis. Lewis says when his career is over, he doesn't know when that'll be, but he's in his 15th season. He wants to go into coaching, and that was textbook right there.
Well, it was good defense, and if he does get into coaching, he might want to point out to any future officials around him that, you know, offensive guys can be pass interference too. McCaffrey got away with one right there. The ball was underthrown. He climbed all over Lewis, and there he is, 54, Greg Beaker again, right in Elway's grill.
3rd and 6. Timeout, Broncos. Elway just saving the delay penalty.
Tom Nalen, the center, didn't see the call for the snap. Elway had happy feet trying to get the ball back there.
We'll be right back.
Keep in mind, the play clock is running down. John Elway is going to move the foot once that says, "Give me the ball." That little motion right there with his feet says, "Gimme, gimme, 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 gimme."
Instead, he got the timeout and fusses a little bit at his center, Tom Nalen. This time, snap on time and on target. Pass, though, is not and nearly intercepted right into the hands of Terry McDaniel. I think he was so surprised he couldn't hold on.
It's the second interception in his hands Terry McDaniel has dropped. The first one he guessed right, tried to jump on a route and had it and dropped it. And that one, like you said, he's so surprised the ball got to him. Surprised it didn't hit his face and stick in his face mask.
It was deflected by Shannon Sharp a bit as he tried to make the catch. It'll be 4th down, though, and the Broncos will have to give up the football. Desmond Howard awaiting the ruined punt. Howard's going to let it bounce, and it takes a great Denver bounce, beautifully done, down at about the 7-yard line.
It's not easy to get those Bellotto footballs to bite like that.
Last night, the long ball won game 1 for Charles Johnson and the Florida Marlins.
And now this ball is bolted back to back and into the upper deck.
Game 2, the Indians and Marlins tonight, immediately following this game here on NBC. And at the Oakland Coliseum, can the Oakland Raiders hold on? They're backed up after that punt, 51 yards. Kaufman breaking clear. Stopped at the 18-yard line. Ray Crockett, as Kaufman made a similar run to the one that opened the game, on this one didn't quite break.
Hey, you want a formula for how do you finish off an upset? You come out and physically have your guys start taking the other team apart. Steve Wisniewski got a good block coming around. Kennedy and Holmes on the right side opened the initial hole up. And for the Raiders to win this game against the Broncos and ruin a perfect season so far, Kaufman has to continue to be the key, and that offensive line has to physically take the fight out of the Denver defense.
That third quarter, the Raiders hardly had the football. That's why the yardage so low for Napoleon Kaufman.
They only had it, they needed it for about 10 seconds. That's how long it took Turner to go from that 62 yards.
Just short of the first down. It'll be second and less than a yard for the Raiders. The ball is at the Oakland 17. They lead 21-17 with 8:50 left. Kaufman cut down in his tracks by Keith Traylor.
Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator of the Broncos, knows that, you have planning and you blitz and you have responsibilities, and well, sometimes you just get lucky and the running back trips over a leg that's just sort of thrown in there by Keith Traylor, 94, right there. See that? If it's intentional, you can get a flag on that for tripping, but there was nothing intentional about that.
Now it's 3rd down and about a yard. Kaufman has it. And more! Napoleon Kaufman! Touchdown! Livid on the Denver sideline. Tyrone Braxton was the last man that had a shot at him. Kaufman broke that tackle easily. And Ford's extra point is good. Kaufman now has carried 21 times for 211 yards. It's 28-17.
So Denver not able to generate any offense. Napoleon Kaufman generating a bit of his own.
Oh yeah, that's a disaster. It really is for the Denver defense. I mean, that's the kind of play that basically finishes a game emotionally for a team. I mean, I know there's nearly 8 minutes left, but that's a sickener for Denver.
And when we take a look at this play, watch for Chad Leavitt, number 31. They put 2 fullbacks in the game. They put one of them in motion, and the 2 fullbacks open up the hole. We missed it because the replay started a little earlier, but it's the first time we've seen that look. Both guys hitting the point of attack, and look at Kaufman go.
The only thing that really gets on Napoleon Kaufman is the right arm of Tyrone Braxton right there. Now the only thing that could stop him would be a divot, a trip, a tall pigeon, but none of the above get in the way.
Or one of those guys we saw in the stands earlier, just to look at one of those guys. As Cole Ford kicks off. Hebron from the 4. Bounces to the outside. Von Hebron with a nice return. Thrown out of bounds at the 40-yard line by Shed. There's Napoleon Kaufman, career-high 211 yards. If you're wondering, that 83-yard John is not a record. The longest run from scrimmage, Bo Jackson, 92 yards in 1989 against Cincinnati. And the one everyone remembers, that 91-yard jaunt when he ran all the way out of the stadium against Seattle in 1987.
Well, don't forget also, as bad as this team has looked in the Denver Broncos, don't forget the Elway fourth quarter magic.
He has 7:41 to work with, and he's under pressure. Sacked. Russell Maryland, Greg Biekert, and the Raiders are starting to smell it now. And the defense, which has played so horribly all season long, just can't wait to get at Elway.
Specifically, I think the defensive line and Greg Biekert. Greg Biekert's been featured attacking. He's done the job. And whatever he hasn't been able to clean up, those big defensive linemen in front of him has cleaned up for him.
3rd sack of the day for the Raider defense. 2nd and 19. Look at Elway escape, and now he's going to run. Lowers his head and bangs down hard across the 40-yard line. Collided there with Albert Lewis.
He didn't lower his head. That was gravity. He was going down. The head had to come with the rest of them. in this scramble right here is John Elway is seeing nobody down the field. And when things aren't going good, you know what happens? Insult to injury. Somebody steps on your head.
Third and 7. Lewis knocked it away. Intended for Smith.
Now let me get this straight. Which one of these teams was 2-4 coming in here?
Boy, if you didn't know, you'd think it was the Raiders that had been flying high. Shanahan did disagree with a call or no call made. Joe Bugle said that bye week came at a great time. He said, I think we'll be ready to play. We've had some of our best practices. He has the unbeaten Broncos in a hole. Denver's going for it on 4th and 7. And Elway completes the pass. It's short of the first down. Shannon Sharp was wrapped up immediately by Lorenzo Lynch. Remember that Lynch has been taking a beating all day because of his comments a season ago, and he makes a key play there, stopping Shannon Sharp a yard or two short of the first down.
Yeah, now not only are you beating the Denver Broncos, you're starting to smash just a little bit of that will right out of them. They want to make a point that we're still the #1 team in the league, and your defense snuffs out any of that hope of at the moment being the #1 football team in the NFL.
They've never been 7-0. 10 years ago to the day was Black Sunday when the stock market crashed. Are the Denver Broncos going to come crashing down on Black Sunday and see their unbeaten record go by the boards? Napoleon Kaufman, somebody better get him. Michael Dean Perry does.
Yeah, this whole situation, if it was to come to a loss, as you look at the best starts ever, you know, last time 6-0, you get to the Super Bowl and lose them, and a couple of divisional losses in the other one. But you don't think there's a couple of former football players spread around the country and located maybe down the South Florida area that'd love to see another year pass with an unbeaten team in the NFL, the Miami Dolphins?
Indeed. 5:38 and counting. First down. When you got it rolling, you see, make that sign, give me more.
I tell you, this is such a game of emotion. The Denver Broncos came out, emotionally just looked flat. And Al Davis's Oakland Raiders, they came out, I don't know what Al said to them, I don't know what Joe Bugle has said to them today, but these guys came out with their butts on fire.
One thing Bugle said was, give the ball to Napoleon, and he was prophetic in that, saying he had to get the ball in his hands, and has it ever paid dividends? Stop for a loss there. That'll be negative yards. John Mobley makes the play. And again, the other big factor, I think, Randy, is that rushing defense of the Raiders. Bugle said we practiced all week. We practiced on running the ball and stopping the run, and it's been a dramatic turnaround.
I mean, when you look at the yards against all week long, people want to talk about Joe Bugle's team, 4.7 against the rush. But what we've seen is the Denver defense that was averaging worse at 5.3 become the trouble spot. People thought you could be physical and take it to this defense, and this Raiders team has taken it to this defense.
This is Tim Hall who gets the carry. Stopped by Mobley and Williams. First carry of the season for Hall in his first year from Robert Morris, 6th-round draft choice last year, who carried only 3 times in 2 games a season ago. Denver will take the timeout with 4:01 left on the clock.
You know, coaches hate celebrating early.
Halloween weekend, for 400 years they stalked mankind.
Vampires, werewolf, it's the Frankenstein monster.
Now they've all come back at the same time, an NBC original event, House House of Frankenstein, 1977, NBC Sunday in 2 weeks. And this has indeed been a house of horrors for the unbeaten Broncos today.
Well, if they ever film a sequel to that, I know it hasn't been on yet, but if they ever film a sequel to that, they can do it here and cast it in about 10 minutes.
A lot of extras on hand here. In fact, speaking of extras, no question the Raiders have gotten the lift. Welcome to those of you who watched Miami and Baltimore as the Dolphins win on the road 24-13. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross at Oakland, where the Raiders are trying to give the Denver Broncos their first defeat of the season. And the man carrying the ball there, Napoleon Kaufman, will be one of the chief architects as he has rushed for a career high over 200 yards. And the Raiders are leading 28-17 as Denver takes another timeout, stopping the clock at 3:53.
And if you're just joining this game, we've seen a Denver Broncos team that has made plenty of mistakes and an Oakland Raiders team that has come in here at 2-4 and been the one with a crisp, precise execution.
Here's the last touchdown run by Napoleon Kaufman, 83 yards.
About 75 of which was totally uncontested.
And he has now for the game 227 yards, which is a new Oakland Raider record. A new record rushing. Napoleon Kaufman, 227 yards in the game.
A standing ovation here at Oakland Coliseum.
And it couldn't have come at a better time for this team. Faced with a must-win situation. Our Miller Time game summary. Terrell Davis, leading AFC rusher coming in, held to 85 yards on 23 rushes by what had been a terrible rush defense of the Raiders. Jeff George hitting 8 of 11, and the unexpected, a Raider record 227 yards from Napoleon Kaufman. Tim Brown on a reverse. Cut it inside when he should have gone outside. And Steve Atwater's there to meet him.
No. You don't want to go in there. If you're a wide receiver on a reverse, you might want to widen it out, but don't go back inside where the big boys live. Because the big boys get you, they're going to hurt you. See, I mean, you want to take it on a reverse, you want to think outside. I mean, the big guys are here. The little guys are here. Which one would you do? I mean, would you rather have a little guy hit you or a big guy hit you? Because there's more than one big guy in there.
Broncos grab the football, but no timeouts left. They trail 28-17. Can Elway pull off another one? Shannon Sharp gets 9 yards. Terry McDaniel giving a little cushion with a stop of Sharp. The clock will stop at the 2-minute warning, but that's all the Broncos can get.
They need big chunks and out of bounds.
Off the hands of Willie Green. Welcome to those of you who watched the Steelers and the Bengals as Cordell Stewart works his magic again. 26-10 Pittsburgh over Cincinnati. Tom Hammond, Randy Cross in Oakland, where the Raiders are hoping to hand the Broncos their first defeat of the season of 28-17, approaching 3 minutes as the Broncos pick up the first down on that run. Big factor in the game, a Raider record 227 yards rushing by Napoleon Kaufman. Shanahan against Bugle. The Broncos looking to go 7-0 for the first time in their history, but Bugle and the Raiders, much maligned this season and only 2 wins, had other ideas. Can Elway pull it out? Wide open, crossing pattern. Shannon Sharp ducks out of bounds, stops the clock at 2:48.
We talked about at the beginning of the game what kind of game this was and what made the Raiders so dangerous. You know, Napoleon Kaufman gets 227 yards, a career and team record high. The defense comes together and plays well. The offensive line, obviously, when you run for that many yards, plays well. You run into a team that suddenly decides on your day you play them. If you're Mike Shanahan, why play up to your potential now? Why couldn't you stay asleep? Well, they're wide awake in Oakland.
Albert Lewis just limped off the field for Oakland. Elway chased from the pocket and unloads. Rob Frederick Hendrickson putting the pressure on John Elway.
And we're sort of grinding on this, Tom, but this Oakland Raider defense is attacking, they're pressuring, and they're making this look like a very un-Bronco-esque performance from Elway and the team from Denver.
Second and 10, ball at the Raider 42. You see the time left. McCaffrey, Elway on target. That one takes it to the 29-yard line, where McCaffrey's tackled by Terry McDaniel.
You know, Elway's hurrying things up here, but what they need is more plays in succession. They've had little success and little failures. Little success, little failures. They need success, success, success.
Elway for the end zone, wide open, touchdown, McCaffrey. John Elway threatening to work his magic again. They'll go for two as he spots McCaffrey for the touchdown.
Wow. The mental mistakes, the football mistakes have been made by the Broncos up to this point, and just a flat, broken, dropped coverage by the Oakland Raiders, enabling McCaffrey to run free like that up the sideline.
And Elway breaks his string of no touchdown passes. McCaffrey's 5th touchdown reception of the season, 28 yards, and now they go for two. Direct snap to Davis, but there are penalty markers down.
It's going to be offsides against the Raiders. They jumped early. They've been getting away with guessing right. They guessed wrong that time.
It is offside against Oakland. You get the feeling Joe Bugle's been here before?
Offside on the defense, number 96. Half the distance to the goal. Retry.
Kind of like that Cowboy team that came back earlier on NBC and beat Jacksonville. This Bronco team, just when you want to drive that stake through the heart and finish them off, Darrell Russell jumps off sides, 96, sets it up, but you better check for a pulse before you declare this team dead.
Split backs. Davis got it. 2-point conversion is good. 2:15 left. Shanahan and the Broncos, while they haven't played their best, showing the heart of an unbeaten team, the best in the NFL, as they have pulled within a field goal.
Well, watch McCaffrey here. I mean, you've got a situation out there. McDaniel's working, handing him off to the guy behind him. Well, there is a guy somewhere behind him, but not until he gets to the end zone. That is a blown coverage by the Raiders defense. And now you've got the penalty, moves the ball a little closer, and then you just get power football. So it was a very faint pulse about 5 minutes ago, but that heart's ticking pretty strong right now, Tom.
Don't forget to stay tuned. Game 2 of the World Series. The Marlins against the Indians. OJ against Brown. Marlins taking the long ball last night and claiming victory in Game 1 in their first World Series appearance. Game 2 tonight right after this one. Raiders expecting the onside kick from Elam. He kicks it away. Nobody home. Desmond Howard is going to have to field it. And he's down at about the 12-yard line.
Well, perfect execution on that kick by Jason Elam and the Broncos special teams. And, you know, 5 minutes ago I said the pulse was faint for the Broncos. 5 minutes ago, the Oakland Raiders and their fans had the pom-poms out on the sidelines. They were celebrating their win over the Denver Broncos. And suddenly now Joe Bugle's guys are saying, well, wait a minute. Well, hold on. That's why coaches don't celebrate too early, especially when you're facing number 7 on the other sideline, John Elway.
Elway has made a habit of fourth quarter comebacks. It's legendary. In fact, 41 times he's had fourth quarter game-saving drives. That's either winning or saving a win. Holding Kaufman stacked up at the line of scrimmage, and the clock will stop for the 2-minute warning. trying to hold on.
Okay.
And don't forget that you can see this World Series Game 2, Cleveland against Florida, on Sky Sports 3 tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Remember, Florida won the first game behind the pitching of Livan Hernandez and the hitting of Charles Johnson. Back in Oakland, it's 28-25, second down and about 10 for the Raiders.
Down to Miami for Game 2 of the series. The Indians and the Marlins right at the conclusion of this game. 2 minutes left, and the Raiders desperately trying to hold on to a 3-point lead. Second down play. Napoleon Kaufman breaks it to the outside. He's in trouble, and he's tackled for a loss on the play. Ray Crockett up quickly from a corner. John Mobley came over, and it'll be third down after a loss of 1 on that Napoleon Kaufman run.
And no real sense of urgency on the Oakland Raiders standpoint. They're willing just to take their time, let this clock run off a little bit. But you're looking at this situation the way it is right here. Third, 10. You get a first down here, the game is over. You don't get a first down here.
What are they doing? They've got 12 seconds on the play clock here. He snapped the ball with 10 seconds on the play clock. Pass, caught, first down. Tim Brown, only his second reception of the game.
And a mocking back at you salute after that catch by Tim Brown. You're absolutely right. 10 seconds left on the play clock. Jeff George didn't need to snap it, but he did. And he's got Tim Brown on a low and away fastball, looking for the strike call, and he gets it. And just to rub it in a little bit, I got you salute right here.
Brown has not been a factor, but that was huge. And now the Raiders will just kill the clock. Penalty marker down. Well, this is the Raiders and the Broncos after all, and it wouldn't be that game without a good fight or two.
This is the game coaches warn their players about when you're off to a good start.
Encroachment, number 95 on the defense, flapping the ball. That's a 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And running time off the clock also.
That's what Joe Bugle's saying.
So Joe Bugle's pointing that clock, saying that offsides was intentional. They did it on purpose to stop the clock.
The game is over.
And that'll do it. Heads up, Joe Bugle. He made the call before Bernie did. So the Denver Broncos are no more unbeaten, and then there were none. Shanahan and the Broncos, John Elway's valiant effort falls 3 points short on the day that Napoleon conquered Denver. Led by Napoleon Kaufman, Oakland wins 28-25. Now stay tuned. Game 2, the Indians and Marlins coming up next on NBC.